It's 2:47 a.m. You tell yourself you're not tired. And honestly, you kinda believe it. Your eyes still work. Your thoughts still feels coherent. You can still laugh at memes, maybe even do homework, play games, watch more videos. So here's the strange question. If sleep deprivation is so dangerous, why doesn't it feel dangerous? Because evolution made exhaustion invisible long before it made it unbearable. And that changes everything. Most people imagine sleep as changing a battery. That's not what happened. Sleep is closer to a city shutting down lane on the highway so repair crew can finally walk onto the road without getting hit by traffic. Your brain doesn't rest during sleep. It becomes more organized. Neurons replay events from the day. Important memories get strengthened. Unimportant memories get deleted. Entire neural pathways get recalibrated based on emotional relevance. A sleeping brain is not inactive. It's compressing reality. And then there is the clean system. For decades, neuroscientists couldn't figure out how brain removes waste because unlike the rest of the body, the brain has no drainage system. Then researchers discovered something bizarre. During deep sleep, the space between brain cells physically expand. Not metaphorically, but literally. Cerebrospinal fluid begin pulsing through brain tissue, washing out metabolic waste. The same proteins heavily associated with Alzheimer's. Your brain essentially enters a nighttime sensation mode, and if you consistently delay sleep into the early morning, you are interfering with the cleaning cycle of the most complex object known in the universe, daily. Now here's where people get confused. They think the danger of sleeping at 3 a.m. comes from not enough sleep, but timing matters almost as much as duration. Because humans don't just run on energy, we run on prediction. Your body is constantly trying to anticipate the future. When should cortisol rise? When should insulin sensitivity peak? When should body temperature fall? When should melatonin begin climbing? You are not a machine reacting to the present, and your circadian rhythm is the forecasting algorithm. That algorithm evolved under one gigantic assumption. The sun exists. For hundreds of thousands of years, darkness meant vulnerability, cold, predators. So human biology built an entire repair schedule around nighttime. Deep sleep tends to cluster earlier in the night. REM sleep becomes heavier later towards morning. Growth hormone releases spikes shortly after sleep onset. Core body temperature drops. Blood pressure changes and gene expression changes too. At 3 a.m., your biology expects you to already be deep inside the repair process. Instead, modern humans are often arguing with strangers online while eating processed sugar under LED lights. That sentence would sound insane to almost every human who have ever lived. And yet some people seems completely fine. You probably know someone like this. They sleep at 4 a.m., functioning normally, still productive. And some of them still healthy looking. Even I know someone like that. This creates one of the most dangerous illusions in modern life. If I can still function, I must be adapting. But sleep deprivation doesn't work like alcohol. With alcohol, impairment feels obvious. Sleep loss is different. The more sleep deprived people become, the worse they get at detecting their own impairment. That's horrifying. Imagine a car whose damage indicator becomes less accurate as the engine slowly fades. That's the human brain on chronic sleep deprivation. In laboratory studies, subjects restricted to around 6 hours of sleep per night for 2 weeks performed cognitively similar to people who have stayed awake for 48 hours straight. Most participants believe they have adjusted. They didn't feel exponentially worse. Their performance collapsed anyways. Your subjective experience and your neurological performance can separate from each other. That should scare you more than exhaustion itself. And then there's emotion. Sleep deprivation doesn't just make you tired, it changes what kind of person you are. The amygdala, one of the brain's emotional threat system, becomes dramatically more reactive under insufficient sleep. At the same time, communication between the amygdala and prefrontal cortex weakens. Translations? Basically, it means your emotional accelerator gets stronger while your braking system weakens. That's why sleep-deprived people becomes more impulsive, more anxious, more irritable, more negative, and more reactive to social conflicts. A terrible night of sleep can make the world feel emotionally hostile without changing the world at all. Now think about the long-term consequences of that. Imagine two identical versions of a person. Same intelligence, same opportunities, same genetic. One constantly sleep well and the other chronically sleep poorly. Even if sleep deprivation reduces daily decision quality by just 3%, after thousands of decisions across years, relationships, career choices, health habits, financial decisions, and emotional regulations, those trajectories begins to diverge massively. Sleep loss doesn't just damage health, it quietly alters life directions. And then comes the modern trap. Because technology has decoupled exhaustion from darkness. For almost all of human history, nighttime was naturally limiting. Candles were dim. Firelights was weak. Entertainment was very scarce. Now your brain encounters infinite novelty at midnight. You've got TikTok, game, YouTube, probably this video right now, and messages all the time. Algorithms optimized to weaponize curiosity itself. Your biology is ancient, but your environment is industrialized dopamine warfare. That mismatch is historically unprecedented. The worst thing about sleeping at 3 a.m. might not even be the sleep timing itself. It's inconsistency. A stable 3 a.m. sleep schedule is often less destructive than a chaotic oscillation between 11 p.m., 2 a.m., all-nighters, weekend recovery sleep, and random naps. Because circadian system hates unpredictability. Your body wants rhythm more than perfection. A drummer slightly offbeat ruins music faster than a slow tempo. So how do you reduce the damage if you realistically cannot sleep early right now? Most people attack the wrong variable. They are obsessed with bedtime, but wake time is often more important because wake time anchors circadian rhythm to an external world. If you wake at a wildly different time every day, your internal clock never stabilizes. You're basically forcing your biology to experience mini jet lags repeatedly. Morning sunlight also matters far more than people realize. Not because sunlight gives you energy, but because specific wavelength of morning light hits retinal cell directly. Because specific wavelength of morning light hits retinal cells directly connect to circadian control center in the brain. Morning light tells your nervous system, start the countdown, night will come later. Without that signal, your biological timing drifts. Which partially explains why people who stay indoor all day often becomes more nocturnal over time. Their brain loses temporal anchors. So back to the original question, how long until sleeping at 3 a.m. kills you? Probably not directly. Humans are absurdly resilient. You can abuse the body for years before consequences fully emerges. That's part of the problem. Biological system fails gradually. Then suddenly, people imagine health collapse as a dramatic event. Usually it's an accumulation, tiny deficits, tiny hormonal disruptions, tiny emotional change, and tiny recovery failures, compounded over years, like compound interests, except the debt is physiological. And maybe that's the most dangerous thing about chronic sleep deprivation. It's not that it kills you instantly, but that it slowly lowers the ceiling of who you could have been without announcing it. And that's all for today's video. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you on the next one.